Hey, what's going on, everybody, man? It's Jamal, also known as Thermostat. Speaking of thermostat, that word was given to me, a long time ago, and never did anything with it. But listen to God now, I know it's time. But that in itself, the name given to me, and my wife played a big part in that. But that's gonna be a message um, for another day. But today, I just want to say happy Calendar's Father's Day to the fathers out there, the ones that's really trying, man, and just doing their best. Happy Father's Day. It doesn't just take one day out the year. You know, just like for the mothers. It doesn't take that one day to commemorate someone. If you're trying, that's what counts. So to all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day. Um, to the ones that are away from their children, whether it's incarceration, whether it's sickness, um, anything of that nature, stay strong. Happy Father's Day, man, and just know that it ain't over yet. With that being said, to the fathers out there, something was spoken to me here recently when I was invited to speak at Camp Proverbs. I had a speaking invitation, on Friday, which to Don, Clarence, to the fam out there of Camp Proverbs in Anderson, South Carolina. Shout out to you guys. I'm very thankful um, that we crossed paths. To me, it was a divine intervention, and I'm very thankful for that. But to the fathers, it reminds me of scripture that was given to me. Ephesians 6:4. As fathers, we play a major role that sometimes we don't even see ourselves, whether it's we choosing not to see it or it's been beating our head so much that our role doesn't mean as much, what I'm saying, as a mother's. But when you look at that Ephesians 6:4, when it tells the man, do not provoke, your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. You know, that in itself clearly, it states it was talking, to the man. So when people say, man, that we're not nurturers, don't believe that. God was He's given man that chief responsibility. Not saying that a woman, not downplaying, a woman's role, because a woman played a major role. But that in itself wasn't saying fathers and mothers. It was saying fathers, and fathers. We have either been pushed or we have chosen ourselves. And what I mean by that, you have society telling you, the people, may be close to you or whoever the case may be, but being that father, is you got to understand, it's been given that responsibility. And truth be told, me for myself, I'm learning that now. There have been some things in my life here recently, or way longer than that, but some things that have happened here recently that has, God has used to, wake me up. It's time. Like I've been told, I don't know about other fathers out there right now that, been running from a call, neglecting the gifts that God has given. But that role of being a father, you know, I'm not gonna say that I'm the perfect father because I'm not. But I pray each and every one of you out there, as well as myself. I have to pray daily because it's a challenge. It's a challenge to try to bring the children up. From what I'm learning, what I'm being taught by my mentors, right now the God has placed in my life because of every day. And what I mean by that is your normal routine. Working, making sure you invest, making sure that your children be able to see, how you walk. For me, it hurts me to know that right now I'm not even really getting to spend as much time with my boys. But I'm also trusting, God with the process and knowing what He's doing in my life, right now, even with the circumstances, that I'm going through. So, fathers, just understand that it's not too late. You know, I've been told, I've been beat down. I've been, kick while down, etc. And a lot of that stuff is what, I brought upon myself, what I'm saying, my actions. But, if God's giving me another chance and I'm still here, I'm still breathing. So at the end of the day, fathers, let's, it's kind of like what they say, and I'm not saying this to be funny, but being serious, there are different ways that fathers can come together. We play a major role in our children's lives. No matter what society tell you, no matter what the next door neighbor tell you, no matter what your family tells you, you got to believe in God, because even, since we talk about society, statistics will show you that when the child's father or children's father is not in their life, statistically, they're more wound up on the wrong side. Why? Because like I said, we've been given that role. And I'm not taking a role from anybody else, because, there are fathers out there that choose not to, but there are also fathers out there that are really more than just part-time fathers. And I'm not speaking this towards anybody else. I don't even plan on going this way, but at the same time, I want all the fathers to know that I am a father myself. And like this desire that God has placed in me to try my best to raise my children, am I going to do it the right way? No. But it's trying to be that leader. Doesn't mean I'm going to make all the right decisions. No. But I stand by my decision. I make sure that now, I couldn't do it before, but fathers, we need to make sure that what we saying, we're also walking. And even with that, even when you choose to, fathers, understand that you're going to have those individuals. And some of those individuals may be very close to you. It's kind of like they're saying, you're not going to believe it, but the father that you are. Most importantly, the Heavenly Father knows the father that you are. So fathers, let's step up to the challenge. I know I'm willing to. I got people that right now that is gonna help with my accountability. I can admit that for myself. I want that. I need that. Not saying that I don't want my boys or my children, or even, that's another message for the day when it comes down to baby girl. But be better than me. Until now, I didn't realize how much I was, I'm just going to say it, just failing as a father. Just because you have, kids or children, as I should say, it's not about how we really want to raise them. Yes, we have our ways, but it's bringing them up to the best of our ability in the instruction of God Himself. Children, we are to teach them. They learn from us. So fathers, man, at the end of the day, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut this short because there's gonna be another part coming to this once I get with my man. Matter of fact, subscribe to his channel, Elevated Elevations. Shout out to him, man, and I'm really thankful, hearing his testimony. There are many fathers out there. Most importantly, my Heavenly Father. It'll take me all day to name all the names, so that's why I'm just saying fathers. We play a major role, and I'm willing, and hoping that other fathers are willing to take upon their responsibility, take upon that challenge. And that challenge is moving self out of the way. How as men, I can admit for myself, moving self out of the way and doing in a way that's right, upbringing. Doing in a way that, like scriptures say, that when the children grow older, they will not depart from it. For me, that's what really matters. And no matter what somebody's told you before, on this day, make a declaration from this day. No matter what anybody said in the past about you being a father, whether it was yesterday or even 6 hours ago or 6 years ago, There are 2 days in a week that we can't change. And that's yesterday and tomorrow. Yesterday already done happened. Tomorrow you don't even know what may or may not come. But today, fathers, I just want to say happy Father's Day to you. Let me encourage you to keep going. I know how it feels sometimes to feel like you're failing as a father. I've been there. But may these words, uplift you, encourage you to keep pushing. And don't let pride, don't let anything or anyone seek. We all need somebody to help us. If you really want to, I don't really want to use the word succeed, but if you want to become a better, father, grow, everybody has room for growth. Definitely myself. And I got several people right now that I have to thank for that, of that willingness that God has placed in me now. So, in the day, y'all stay tuned, get connected with some things, subscribe, share it, and there's a movement, and I'm just thankful that I'm able to see another Calendars Father's Day, to be able to spend it, with my children. And to the ones that can't, don't try your best not to let this day to get to you. Let this day get to you like that. Just know that it ain't over yet. You still breathing, you still got opportunity, you still got a chance. So with that being said, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Hey, keep pushing. Not even the sky's the limit. Don't just stop because there are just good days. There's always room to grow. There's always room to teach. But it starts with us. We have to be willing. No matter how hard it gets, we have to be willing to be the fathers that our children, the next generation, may be. Happy Father's Day. I say y'all stay tuned. Be another message soon.